Hey guys, today's video I thought I'd talk a little bit about the Giants live show at the Manchester Arena on the 7th of September. We've got the list of athletes, so I thought I'd run through the athletes, who isn't going, who we thought would be going, and a little bit about the show and what we know so far. So athletes were released today, and the names we have on the list so far are Alexei Novikov. He did really well at the World's Strongest Man this year, almost making the final. He probably should have made the final, but basically he's coming into this show and he's going to be looking to prove himself and earn his spot for a place at the World's Strongest Man. So the top 3 guys in this particular show will qualify for World's Strongest Man, and that is why you'll see lots of other names that have maybe competed in other shows and haven't quite sort of made the cut, still coming back time and time again to make that qualifying spot for next year's World's Strongest Man competition. So after Alexei, we've got Robert Oberst. So Robert Oberst didn't make the final this year, but he's coming back. He's been obviously doing the television show on the History Channel, The Strongest Man in History, along with Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw and Nick Best. And he'll be competing as well. So it'll be good to see what Robert Oberst has got, since he's not competed at a Giants live show for a little while now. I believe he missed out on last year's show due to a torn bicep, which he did actually practicing for the show. So good luck to Robert. Let's see what he can do when he comes back. We've also got Tom Stoltman. So Tom Stoltman coming 5th at World's Strongest Man this year. He's in a really strong position mentally and sort of obviously at the strongest he's ever been. So he's looking to take a podium here and do whatever he can to qualify, although he has technically already qualified for World's Strongest Man by making the finals. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. We've got Nick Best. So Nick's actually trying to compete at World's Strongest Man this time. He was also in the Strongest Man in History show on the History Channel. So Nick's coming back. He's done very well. I believe the last time he was here doing the Giants Live World's Strongest Man qualifying tour, he did really well in the frame carry and the yoke. So he's very good at moving events. And it'll be interesting to see how all this filming, this TV filming, will affect his training. I mean, maybe it won't do. Maybe he's had a lot of downtime, a good chance to recover from any sort of little niggles or injuries that he's had. But it'll be interesting to see how Nick Best gets on with the strong lineup that they have this year. We also have Mikhail Shivlyakov of Russia. So Mikhail's back again. He's desperate to qualify for World's Strongest Man. He was at the previous show, I believe, the Giants Live show, the Wembley Arena tour, but didn't unfortunately make the podium, which means he still has to battle it out to qualify for World's Strongest Man 2020. Following on from him, we have Mateusz Kiliskowski. Mateusz from Poland is the second in the World's Strongest Man this year. So he's already qualified, having hit the podium. He's banked his spot for next year, but he loves to compete. As you can see online, he's competing everywhere and anywhere, doing Arnold Classics, Strongman Champions League competitions, currently in Finland. Last time I checked, he was leading that as well. There's just no end to how much he competes throughout the year, and that's really good for him because it gives him a really good a good amount of experience on different events, at different shows, against different competitors. And as long as his body can hold up and he doesn't have too many injuries, he'll be looking in a good spot and in a strong position for next year's World's Strongest Man. We also have Martins Lisis from America or Latvia, depending on how you look at it. He is the World's Strongest Man, so he also does not need to compete in this show, but he is coming back to the UK. Currently he's doing a tour of seminars in China, but he's looking forward, I guess, to coming back, getting back to some competing, some competition, seeing the guys, and just seeing how his strength is, because I think he expected to win the Giants Live event, Wembley Arena tour, after having won World's Strongest Man, and he maybe came in a little bit too confident and maybe slipped here and there in some of the events, which did actually cost him, and he ended up falling down into 3rd place. But it's still really great result for him, and look forward to seeing Martins at the show. Luke Stoltman will also be there, so where you find Tom, you'll usually find Luke. So the Stoltman brothers will be out in force representing Scotland at the Giants Live World's Strongest Man Tour finals. Luke's done really well. I think he came 7th from memory at World's Strongest Man, so he's looking to capitalise on, on the good wins that he's been having recently. I believe the boys also both smashed the Ardblair stone record in Scotland recently, which is where you have to lift the heavy stones up with no tacky, only chalk is allowed, and the stones range from something like 30 kilos to 160 kilos. So it's not super heavy stones, but when you've got no tacky involved, it really does come down to strength and technique. But those guys are very good at stones, we know that. Also, Adam Bishop is in the lineup. So when you start looking at this lineup, it almost feels like the World's Strongest Man finals, because you've got Tom Stoltman, Luke Stoltman, Adam Bishop, Martin Zalisis, Mateusz Kiliskowski. You know, there's like half of the World's Strongest Man finals at this show. So they are top ranked athletes. Adam Bishop did really, really well making the finals. It was his first finals this year after attempting at least 4 or 5 times. So really great to see Adam back. He is a staple of the UK scene, and hopefully he can do well in this show, also gaining him some qualification opportunity to World's Strongest Man. Although actually, again, he made the final this year, so he will already be going to World's Strongest Man. Evan Singleton. So Evan is known as the T-Rex. He was helping on a lot of the shows. I believe he was assisting at World's Strongest Man this year. He competed at the North American Open last year, and he will be at the Giants Live World's Strongest Man Tour finals. So it'll be interesting to see how Evan competes. He's an ex-WWE wrestler, I believe. So he's, you know, used to being in the gym, used to training more for maybe an aesthetic look than actually pure brute strength. But he's very, very strong, and he'll definitely come in here wanting to prove a point. So good luck to Evan. Now that rounds up the list of athletes that we have as of today, and that's only 11 athletes. Most events run head-to-head, or there's at least 2 lanes, so it makes me think there's a 12th name in the mix here that's not been released, or that the 11th name is like an extra name. But if they've been listed as athletes, it makes me think there's one more to go. So I've got a couple of names here I wanted to talk about. A couple of people that their names aren't here, you'd expect them to be here, and they've not been competing for a while. So, you know, what's the story? First one is Iron Bibi, so Sheikh Sanu from Burkina Faso. He was a big, you know, presser. He was massive in the Giants Live competitions. He did loads of shows last year. He tried to compete at World's Strongest Man and was unfortunately able to compete last year due to ill health. He didn't decide to compete this year, even though he was given an invitation. So it just makes me wonder what's going on with Sheikh Sanu. Is he looking to compete at the World's Strongest Man? Is he injured? Is he taking some time out, or does he have some other focuses that he wants to, you know, basically spend his time on? It's a real shame. I'm a big fan of his. I'd love to see him at this show. I'm hoping he's the 12th man that they're holding back, because I think he's got some unfinished business in the UK and on the world scene as well. Such a great athlete. He's got real potential. I think he beat Lawrence Charlet in the yoke carry and the frame carry the last time he was here. So he's a really good overall athlete. It's not just pressing with him. He can do moving events. I think the loading events is probably his weakness, but other than that, and sort of a slightly lower than everyone else sort of in the deadlift, he's got a real shot at this. So I hope he comes to the show. It'd be great to see him in the mix. He's a name that I think everyone was expecting to see in the lineup. So Iron Bibi, if you're watching this, it'd be great to see you there. And the final name that I'm really shocked isn't there is Larry Wheels. There's been some controversy with Larry recently with online videos and all sorts of other things. But that aside, Larry Wheels is kind of the poster boy for Giants Live at the moment, isn't he? His face is on the front of next year's Giants Live Strongman Classic, which is going to be at the Royal Albert Hall. So I assume he's still doing Strongman. He's also not competing at the World's Ultimate Strongman, so he's there as a special guest. So Larry's not competing, and if you're not competing, you're not going to qualify. So this really does raise the question, do you have to qualify for World's Strongest Man, or is Larry going to get the wild card this year? So it will be interesting to see what happens. Larry could also be that 12th man, or maybe they're looking at 14 athletes. I really don't know. But I am very, very shocked to see that Larry Wheels' name is not down for this competition, being that it's another chance for him to get back in the seat, you know, pick up where he left off. His bicep injury or tear, to my knowledge, wasn't that bad, so he should be all recovered and healed up and able to do this kind of an event. But unfortunately, his name is not down. So more news on that to follow. If I get any information on Larry Wheels or Iron Bibi, I will, of course, update you guys. And lastly, I just wanted to speak about New Age. New Age Performance very kindly sent me lots of things. I've got t-shirts, I've got hats, I've got the mouthpieces here. We have a 6DS and a 5DS. These mouthpieces come as mouthpieces or mouth guards. Now, the difference between the mouthpiece and the mouth guard is basically the shield on the front. So let's get one of these bad boys out. Let's go with the 6DS. So the 6DS will actually lock into place your top and lower teeth. They come in a very nice packet. You will receive a mouth guard case so that you can store it in there, because no one wants a nasty mouthpiece floating around their gym bag, or I don't. And as you can see here, it's got New Age on the front there. and as you can see from the back, it locks into place the top and bottom teeth using these fins along each side. They come in different colours. This one happens to be clear. What you do is you put it in the microwave or hot water, you warm this thing up, get it to a real soft temperature, you place it in once, you bite down hard, making sure it's in the correct position. You then wait for it, put it into cold water, it will then set, and then that will be your set mouthpiece, only suitable for yourself. So you won't be able to lend this to your friend, not that you'd want to do that anyway, but as you can see, being the mouth guard and not the mouthpiece, it has this front protection for the front teeth here. Now, a lot of people say to me, well, I just want the 60S. The 60S is the generic one that most of the guys at World's Strongest Man will use. It allows you to keep breathing through the front whilst you're sort of biting down on your teeth, protecting your teeth and, you know, holding your jaw in place, I suppose, when you're doing these heavy lifts. It says that it increases strength performance. I'm not a strength athlete, I'm just a fan, so you guys will have to let me know. I've seen lots of good reviews. A couple of people say, you know, they're not as good as expected. Other people say they're better than expected. So it is really trial and error on this side of stuff. But that aside, from a protection point of view, if you imagine the front, let's talk about that front piece here. If you're doing a log press or an axle and you've got this heavy, you know, dangerous weight above your head and you drop it down on your face, hopefully that's not going to happen. But if you've got something there just protecting the top of your teeth, I would feel a bit more confident about that lift. So the 60S is available. They do 5DS as well, which basically just locks onto the top, but it doesn't lock in your lower jaw. And then if you buy the mouth piece and not the mouth guard, again, the 60S will lock the top and bottom teeth in place, and the 5DS will just lock the bottom in place, and you bite down hard on the top of that guard whenever you're pressing. And you'll find these are used in Strongman, CrossFit, powerlifting, anywhere where you've got a tendency to bite down. I know when I started training, this sort of thing wasn't really on my radar. I bit down so hard I went through a filling, which had only just been done. Unfortunately, that filling then resulted in a root canal, so I was a bit pissed at that because that cost me more money. Had I had a mouth guard, it probably would have protected me from that. I've probably, over the years now, trained myself not to, you know, bite down quite so hard. But depending on who you are and what you do in training, these could be of use to you. So there's the mouth guards. They also do these. Let's get this one out. So this is a New Age Performance vitamin holder. So if you're a bodybuilder or a strongman and you're taking all sorts of tablets, they've got these great little containers here. I don't know if you can see that, where you can split all your pills up into daily you know, allowances, whether that's vitamins, minerals, or anything else. And on the other side here, if I can even get it open, there we go. What have we got in here? We've got some trays. So these are actually larger containers which also split out. So these are quite cool because I haven't seen these around really. It's quite big, but I guess on Strongman you're looking to fill in for the week, and a lot of people are taking things like you know, fish oils or vitamin D, vitamin C, that sort of thing. There's all sorts of things you can put in there. You can put in their fat burners, anything you like. So they sell these as well. You can also get the t-shirts, you can also get the hats. So if you want to check out the New Age website, I'll put a link in the video. But that's me for today. Just thought I'd do a really quick roundup of the Giants Live show. Looking forward to it. It's the 7th of September, so it's only a few weeks away now. So it really is drilling down to what are the events, who are the last few names they're going to put in the hat, and let's hope they have a great competition. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you later.